Bro, it's so chilly. It's like 22 degrees Celsius. Hey guys, it's Michael. Today we're going to talk about why I have so many angle grinders, 5 to be specific. The main reason is so I can have a different attachment on each angle grinder. See, on first one, flat disc, second, grinding wheel, small cutoff disc, a wire wheel, and then a large cutoff disc. I typically have a grinding wheel on this one. A lot of the time you need to switch between attachments constantly. You might need to make a cut and then clean it up with a grinding wheel or something like that. And if you're just prepping a little small part, you might need to clean the rust off it, then cut it up, then grind the cut, and then get it prepped for painting or something like that. Which means you need a wire wheel, cutting disc, a flat wheel, and a grinding wheel. And that can be unbelievably annoying, switching between different attachments constantly. So that's the main reason why metalworkers typically have multiple angle grinders. It's so you can have different stuff in each one. The second reason is that, just like any tool, angle grinders die slowly, and occasionally angle grinders break. That's just the nature of them. And angle grinders live in a pretty hostile environment. They're pushed very hard, and they suck in the dust and etc. that comes off of whatever attachment you're using. Because angle grinders are worked so hard, they don't really have a shelf life. They typically die from overuse. So having multiple angle grinders shares the load on the angle grinder, which means it's not really costing you any more having multiple angle grinders. If you replace an angle grinder once every year, if you have 5 angle grinders, you might have to replace all of them every 5 years. So it's essentially the same price having all of them. It's just more convenient. This doesn't really apply to me, but another reason is if I'm working with someone, they can use one particular angle grinder while I'm using another. Another thing is different sizes of angle grinders. Different sizes of angle grinders serve different purposes. So you can watch this video, I believe it's this corner, to see why a big angle grinder like this one has value. And also I have another video on why I believe this 7-inch angle grinder is the best. This one is a 9-inch grinder. This is a 7-inch. This one's a 5-inch, and these two are 100 mils. I don't recommend anyone get a 100 mil angle grinder. I just got both of these ones used for a really good price, so that's why I got them. This is a really big Bosch 9-inch angle grinder from my granddad, and it's probably a decade or two old by now. And when this was made, the Bosch green tools still were good, like German-made tools. Nowadays, Bosch green tools are a complete joke. Don't ever buy them. I use this one in a situation where I can't use my cut-off saw on something, and I need a large cutting capacity. So that's the value of the 9-inch discs. Also, if I need to do some serious grinding, I use this one. This is my Ryobi 7-inch grinder. I don't typically like Ryobi, but it was a pretty good deal, and I really needed a 7-inch grinder, and it was half the cost of the Makita. So yeah, that's why I got it. And there's something that I really like about this one. There's an adjustable handle on it, so it's a 3-position handle. So we have it in the standard grinding configuration, and I just press here. And then it's adjusted so that if you want to cut something like this, something big, you can use the side handle like this. Another thing that's awesome about this one is it has a variable speed trigger. So this is not just a grinder, it's also a sander and polisher. And you don't really ever want to change the speed if you're trying to cut something. The cutting wheels work better at the higher speeds, and they'll last longer, so it's saving you grinding wheels, and it helps the cutting efficiency. But that is mega useful with a wire wheel, because if you spin these things too fast, the wires spray out everywhere and get stuck in everything. And also, if you want to just slowly sand something, that's pretty nice, but mostly I just keep it on its highest speed. It's also got a slow start on it, which is awesome. This is my first angle grinder here. This is my Bosch Blue 5-inch angle grinder, and I got it because it was, I think it was on special maybe. The Makita might have been the same price, but the main reason I got it is because of the slim body. So I hate Makita grinders. My dad has several Makita grinders and I just hate using all of them. I love the Bosch Blue grinders because they're slim body, so it's so comfortable to hold. It's a small way around. And what's even worse than the Makita grinders are the DeWalt grinders. They're horrible, especially with the paddle switch on them. I'll talk about switches in a second. This one is my Makita 100mm angle grinder. This one's the most recent one I have. And like I said, I don't really like Makita angle grinders, but this one's a slim body and it's pretty lightweight. I got it for a decent price. It was like $45 or something, and it was very lightly used. And then this, I believe it was my third angle grinder. I got this one used as well from Cash Converters. It was like $40 or something, and it was in great condition. I think it was $45 actually, but yeah, I really like this one. So, in fact, I don't really have a lot of angle grinders compared to some people, and that might sound ridiculous, but it's not uncommon for people that have 10 angle grinders. It's just because there's so many attachments that you can have on these. I think minimum you need 4 angle grinders if you want any sort of serious production. You need a wire wheel, a cutting disc, a grinding wheel, and a flap wheel. If you want to step it up with the larger angle grinders, I recommend having you only really need one large angle grinder, but if you have a cutting disc on it, it's not a replacement for the smaller cutting discs. You really need one of each. I'm looking at getting, I think, 2 more angle grinders. I'd like another 9-inch angle grinder for with a grinding wheel on it, because I have a cutting wheel on this one, and then I'd like to get another 7-inch angle grinder just to put a sort of sanding attachment on it, because they're so useful. I keep this wire wheel on this Ryobi, and I use it for everything. It's awesome for cleaning the slag off of electrodes, particularly 6011s, because the slag tends to really grip onto the beads, so it's fantastic for that. So with an angle grinder, when it comes to cost, I'm sort of split about this, because if it's a decision between having one good quality angle grinder and a handful of cheaper ones, then it might be a good thing getting the cheaper ones. If you're somewhere where Harbor Freight is an available place and you can get an angle grinder for less than $10, then absolutely get a couple of those. One thing to watch out for is they'll only be good for flat discs, typically. Grinding and the cutting wheels tend to be way harder on grinders than using a flat wheel. I would suggest getting at least one good quality angle grinder, but I don't tend to buy cheaper tools. This Ryobi was an exception, and it works just fine with the wire wheel on it. I think it's fantastic. Ryobi, you did great on this tool, man. So now a word on switches on angle grinders. So there's typically 3 kinds of switches that you'll see. Maybe the most common switch you'll see is a slide switch. You'll just switch it up and down and that turns on and off the angle grinder. There's a couple advantages to slide switches. First off is they tend to be one-hand operated switches, which can be good. The second advantage is they stay on, or it could be a disadvantage, I guess, depending on how skilled you are with an angle grinder. If you want to turn it on and just hold it, it's very comfortable. Some disadvantages is one, it stays on, so if some idiot has turned it on while it's not plugged in, when you plug it in, it'll turn on and maybe you'll drop it, which is or it could cause a serious injury, which is terrible. Slide switches are my second favorite, I believe. My favorite kind of switch is the trigger. This Bosch here has a 2-step trigger to stop it being able to be triggered on a bench or something. You push it in and then push it up like this. The trigger's getting kind of worn out, but it still works alright. This Ryobi, I can't really say if it works better. I don't think so. The Ryobis don't tend to be very comfortable, but it has this little button like you'd see on a circular saw that you press in, but you press it about halfway and press this in. One maybe advantage, maybe disadvantage of this one is it's got a lock and trigger in case you want to polish something like that. It's good for a wire wheel. I know in the US you'll see triggers all the way down to the 5-inch angle grinders, but in Australia we typically only have them on 7-inch and 9-inch, or maybe 10-inch. One kind of switch you'll never see me use though is a paddle switch on an angle grinder. I know some people love them, but I absolutely despise them. You often see them on DeWalt angle grinders, which I hate in the first place. But what's terrible about them is twofold. The first off is you'll already have a chunky angle grinder if it's something like a DeWalt, and you're adding to the girth of the angle grinder, so it's very difficult to hold on to. And the second reason is it's very difficult to cut anything with a paddle switch. So a paddle switch will be on the belly of an angle grinder, typically here, where it's got some sort of system that you pull it down and then push it in. So because of that, if you want to hold the angle grinder like this and cut something, you have to put your hand like all the way around here to try and hold the paddle switch down. With slide switches, they're often put on the side, which I way prefer because you can grind something with it on the side like this, but it's way more convenient to cut something because your thumb just follows it naturally. I don't really like the slide switches on the top. They're just a nightmare because the manufacturer assumes that the only thing you're going to use the grinder for is grinding. Well, I guess that's in the name, but these are cutting tools also. So you'll notice that all of my angle grinders that have the slide switch, it's on the side, not the back. And if you're buying your first angle grinder or another one to add to the fleet, it's something you want to look out for. The second reason why I don't like paddle switches is because they tend to be a two-hand operating thing. You need a side handle on the angle grinder just because it's so hard to get them to trigger them. Manufacturers are making them more comfortable, but I hate paddle switches, man. They're terrible. I mean, some people love them, and some people hate the slide switches. I think triggers are a sort of agreed upon good thing, but man, I can't stand paddle switches. Because this is all personal preference, you'll both learn by just buying an angle grinder. But if you're buying a tool, an angle grinder at the store, I suggest just picking up all the different ones and holding them and see how they feel in your hand. A quick word on abrasives. So these are wire cut brushes. It'll be the best, probably $35 you'll spend in a long time. I remember being a broke 14-year-old and not being able to afford one of these, or even flap discs, so I had to get by with the grinding wheel. That works, but these are fantastic, man. I don't know how I lived without one. So up here we have some
oranges, peach, pears, plums, oranges.
So in the smaller box, appropriately labeled discs, we have flap wheels. These are just some cheaper ones. In general, I like to buy the more expensive flap discs. I don't have any experience with the cheaper ones, but I don't know, we'll try them out. If anyone has some experience with those bulk ones from China, please let me know, because they're a bargain. Because these ones can cost up to like $12 a disc, whereas those ones cost around $1. So, I don't know, they might be a huge bargain. I've always gotten Makita cut-off discs. I just find, I don't know, I like them, never question it. And here I keep flap wheels, grinding wheels, and I still have the original one that came with the grinder. Apparently these are garbage, but I don't know, they seem to work alright. So looking in here, we can tell that we're now 7 inches closer to madness, which is quite surprising. I thought we were quite a bit further than that. But in here, I have a whole whackload of stuff. I'll let you wheel. I have this backing pad for sanding discs for my 7-inch angle grinder. I haven't used that yet. and absolutely gosh awful discs that come with the grinder. I haven't used those yet. Here we have a 7-inch cutoff wheel. Then I have, I think, five Makita grinding wheels. I'll show you what they look like. And then I have, I think, 6 or 7 cutoff wheels. I got the 7-inch grinder recently. It's this brand of disc that I use, and I have no experience with it. These ones seem pretty thick, so I'm not super sure about those. Then I have a bunch of sanding discs going from 36 grit to 60 to 120. Thanks very much for watching, guys. I hope that gave you an insight on why I have so many damn angle grinders. Thanks for watching, man. Please smash like on the video, maybe subscribe to the channel if you so please. It helps a lot. Boopity boop, comment down below. Thanks, love y'all. See you next time, eh?